When a massive tornado tears through a community, it leaves an undeniable scar. It's so easy to just focus on the destruction. But, to really get what that means, you have to understand the place itself and the people who call it home. So today, we're going to dig into the story of Laurel County, Kentucky. It's a story about a sudden, awful tragedy, but it's also about a really unique identity and all the quiet work that goes into being resilient.
Okay, so let's go there. It was late at night. The alerts start blaring. For everyone in Laurel County, what was just a threat on the weather report was suddenly becoming terrifyingly real. It was close, and it was heading right for them.
Just try to imagine that for a second. You're huddled in a crawl space, and it's not just that you can hear the storm, you can feel it. The raw power of it is literally vibrating through the ground beneath you. That was the reality for folks like Chris Cromer, just holding on and hoping that when it was all over, their home would still be there.
And when the sun finally came up, the true cost of that night became just heartbreakingly clear. The tornado that ripped through Laurel County had claimed 9 lives. A whole community was left to mourn their neighbors, their friends, and their family.
The mayor of London, which is the county seat, really captured that feeling on the ground. It was this profound shock, of course, but also this immediate, almost instinctual call for unity. The very first thought was, we have to come together.
So who is this community, really? To understand how they bounce back, we need to zoom out a bit from the disaster and just take a look at the place they call home. All right, here are the basics. Laurel County is down in southeastern Kentucky. It was founded way back in 1825. So we're talking about a place with nearly 200 years of history. Today, it's home to more than 62,000 people, and its hub is the city of London. And that history is pretty fascinating. On one hand, Laurel County was the site of a really important Civil War battle, the Battle of Wildcat Mountain. But its modern identity? That was shaped by something completely different. It's where Colonel Harlan Sanders opened his very first cafe.
And this is just perfect. It really shows you how one piece of history can define a place. Every single year, 250,000 people, 250,000, descend on London, Kentucky for the World Chicken Festival. They're celebrating the county's totally unique claim to fame as the birthplace of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
But here's the thing. A catastrophic tornado is a huge, terrible event, but it's not the only danger this community has to deal with. If you take a look at the local headlines, you see this constant stream of emergencies that are just a part of daily life.
The news ticker just tells the story of these everyday tragedies that first responders see all the time. These aren't making national news, but for the community, they represent a profound and very real loss.
Car accidents, especially, seem to be a constant threat. The highways and the winding rural roads out there can be pretty unforgiving. And the consequences, well, they're often just devastating.
And the challenges go beyond just accidents. Like a lot of communities all over the country, Laurel County is also grappling with really complex issues around public safety, accountability, and justice.
Let's just break down one of these incidents for a second. This one was on Highway 192. It's this stark 4-step sequence of events that just shows how quickly an ordinary drive can turn into a fatal emergency. It's a pattern that first responders see play out again and again.
So, who are the people answering the call when these disasters, both big and small, actually happen? Well, the Laurel County Fire Department, just that one agency, responds to over 450 calls every single year. Let that sink in. That's more than one emergency call every single day, year-round. And what's really amazing is the sheer scope of what they handle is not just about fires. They're on the scene for car wrecks, for hazmat spills, and even for medical calls like cardiac arrests. They are, for all intents and purposes, an all-hazards response team. So how do you actually measure how effective a fire department is? Well, one of the key ways is this thing called the ISO Public Protection Classification, or PPC. Basically, it's a rating from 1 to 10 that checks out a department's ability to protect the community. And here's the kicker. It has a direct impact on how much people pay for their property insurance.
And here's where Laurel County stands. Their fire department has earned a Class 4 rating, which is the best in the entire county. That's a really solid score. And their whole mission is to keep making it better, not just to keep people safe, but to literally save their neighbors money.
But just responding to emergencies is only half the fight. Real community resilience, that's built long before the sirens ever start wailing. It's all about proactive planning.
You can really think about it like this. On one side, you've got that heroic, in-the-moment reaction to a 911 call. But on the other side, you have the slow, steady, proactive work of building safer systems so that maybe, just maybe,
those calls don't have to be made in the first place.
And that proactive work, it's happening all around Laurel County, even if it doesn't make the 6 o'clock news. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is doing things like upgrading traffic signals to cut down on accidents, inspecting bridges on the interstate, and repairing railroad crossings, all to prevent future tragedies.
Which really brings us to our final question here. For a place like Laurel County, a community that has definitely seen its share of tragedy, what's the ultimate measure of its strength? Is it the courage that people show in the middle of a crisis? Or is it the quiet, forward-thinking work of making sure the next storm or the next emergency call does just a little bit less harm? It's a question that really every single community has to answer for itself.